It's the Scottish Rite who were the original keepers of that tradition, and they're still around. They're still doing a lot of good deeds. You don't hear much about them. So you get the good Masons and the bad Masons, or the nefarious Masons who are trying to control the world. So we're back to that story again. It's a story of humanity, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
You
So
give the tools and somehow it all
somehow
goes...
it's like it's corrupt. It's ridiculous how we just have this in us that we have to corrupt everything for our own interest. But
the time goes in.
so I want to ask you about the connection between Eleusinian Mysteries of Greece and this, if there's any connections.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. So the Templars were the last, I'd say the last known people to be conducting this initiation. Initiation means to become conscious. That's what it means. So you think you're a conscious being walking on the planet Earth. You're not.
Not really.
You're mostly just going around just doing what people are telling you, stuck there with your cell phone. To be conscious is to be aware of the big picture, not just this world, the next world, and integrate the two, and implement that in your daily life, and become a symbol of positive change, what any avatars always done. And the Greeks, when they picked up the story of initiation from the Arab world and also from the world around Persia, because the Greeks came into the story very, very late, they created the Eleusinian Mysteries teachings, which is exactly the same thing. And there are still some chambers in Greece where you go into this cave, and there are boxes inside the cave, and there are narcotics and poisons inside the cave. And they were doing exactly the same thing they were doing, for example, in the Great Pyramid of Giza. There's a box in there. It's there for a reason, and people die in there if they go in there and do some very silly, stupid things.
I was about to ask, like, there's gotta be some deaths happening around, so...
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, go on.
So basically, the Greeks were following this tradition of going into the other world usually for 3 days. They take the narcotic. It's an induced near-death experience. The priests who were looking after, actually the priestesses who were looking after the initiate on their final run out of the body, if they messed up on this part of the ceremony and the initiate died because you gave him the wrong dilution of poison, because it's a very thin line between an 8% poison where it knocks you just out and 10% where it kills you. So if you kill the initiate, you'd be basically excommunicated for life, maybe even put to death. So they were very serious about this. So they basically were teaching these people the same principles that have been going on by their time for, 9,000 years. And Pythagoras did it 5 times. Oh, he was an initiation junkie. I just need some more of that.
That's why we have these theories. He probably got it from the other.
That's exactly true. And Plato said, actually, he's on record as saying, my experience of the other world shaped my metaphysical doctrine, and one can never understand truth unless you've experienced the other world. There's no other place you can find it in this life. You have to cross over and come back. And he said, there's a great phrase he said, true philosophers make dying their living. It's a metaphoric death, you see. And it goes back to the story of Jesus, that everybody in the Middle East said, no one was ever nailed to a cross. It was a metaphor. The guy, Simon, was nailed to a cross. He was a criminal. The Romans didn't execute people on cross unless they've broken Roman law. Jesus never broke a Roman law. The whole thing was a metaphor. And the Gnostic Christians agreed with them as well. And that's what fostered the war between the fundamentalists and the Gnostic Christians. And the fundamentalists won. They became the Catholic Church. So you see how this whole thing gets totally taken out of context.
You just kind of like blew my mind for a second here.
It's a complex story.
No, I was about to, like, I'm not a very godly person in terms of believing in Jesus